3 years ago, a brand new electric car on a British road like this would set you back roughly £45,000. Today, you can pick up that exact same vehicle for around £11,000. This line graph maps the brutal trajectory of that price crash from 2023 to 2026. It is a sheer drop of nearly 75%. The plunge accelerated due to three distinct market forces. First, fleet operators dumped thousands of 3-year-old leases onto the used market simultaneously. Then came sudden spikes in insurance premiums. Finally, aggressively priced new models from Chinese brands arrived, undercutting the entire European market and dragging used values down with them. That financial collapse looks terrifying on paper, but a plummeting residual value does not mean the lithium-ion cells beneath the floor have failed. A cheap car is not necessarily a broken car. To see where the actual value lies, we need to examine 5 specific, heavily depreciated electric cars currently sitting on the UK used market. We need to separate the genuine bargains from the financial traps. Evaluating these cars purely by a cheap sticker price leaves you exposed to severe technological limitations. True affordability depends entirely on whether the vehicle remains practically usable for your daily routine. Before looking at the cars, we have to establish why advertised specifications often fail in reality. The official WLTP range printed in a showroom brochure rarely matches what you will experience plowing down the M6 in freezing January rain. This cross-section illustrates the difference between battery capacities. The outer perimeter represents the gross capacity, the total physical cells built into the car. But the manufacturer's software locks away a portion of those cells to prevent severe degradation over time. The highlighted internal block is the usable capacity. That is the only energy you can actually draw from to drive. To protect that usable capacity during a cold UK winter, a heat pump is vital. It scavenges thermal energy from the battery architecture and the drivetrain, repurposing it to warm the cabin. Without one, the car relies on a highly inefficient resistive heater that drains your driving range rapidly. You also have to look past the advertised maximum DC rapid charging speed. This chart shows a typical charging curve. The vehicle might hit its headline peak rate for a brief moment, but as the battery fills, the software oppressively throttles the power back to protect the cells from overheating. If you buy an older EV without battery preconditioning, the ability to warm the cells before arriving at a plug, you get this second, much flatter curve. On a freezing morning, a car capable of 100 kilowatts might stubbornly charge at 30 kilowatts, leaving you stranded at a service station for over an hour. Ignoring an older vehicle's charging curve and thermal management systems will turn a cheap purchase into a daily logistical headache. Coming in at number 5 is a first-generation electric hatchback. This represents the absolute lowest entry point for zero-emission urban commuting. Looking at the scorecard, this car originally retailed around £28,000, but the 2026 used price has collapsed to under £7,000. For that money, you get a realistic winter range of roughly 75 miles and an AC charging limit of just 3.3 kilowatts, which means a slow home charge. The severe limitations lie in its architecture. It lacks active liquid thermal management, leaving the battery susceptible to faster degradation. Worse, it relies on the outdated SHADE-MO connector for rapid charging, a standard that is actively being phased out across UK public networks. The verdict for Car 5 is a limited-use bargain. It makes perfect financial sense, provided it is strictly a second car for drivers who have off-street parking and never intend to leave their local postcode. Car number 4 is an early mid-size crossover. It offers the essential rear seat legroom and boot space required by a family, all for a fraction of its original showroom cost. The data here shows models typically sitting above 60,000 miles, priced around £12,000. It delivers a realistic mixed driving range of 140 miles per charge. However, at this age and mileage, the manufacturer warranty has expired. That expired warranty exposes you to known faults with the car's AC onboard charger, a component that costs thousands to replace. You also have to watch for parasitic drains on the 12-volt battery, which will routinely leave the car completely unresponsive on your driveway. Car 4 is a borderline trap. It demands a rigorous specialist inspection before you even consider handing over your cash. At number 3, we have a rapidly depreciated premium saloon from a flagship German or British marque. The first owner took a depreciation hit of over £40,000. The scorecard highlights a six-figure original price tag, now sitting around £35,000. You get exquisite cabin materials, immense refinement, and a highly capable motorway range of 220 miles. But the ongoing costs are ruinous. A failure in the complex air suspension or the high-voltage inverter requires main dealer intervention, easily generating a $6,000 invoice. Add to that the massive insurance premiums and the heavy rate of EV-specific tire wear. This makes Car 3 a highly dangerous battery and repair trap. While the purchase price of a premium electric vehicle drops to an affordable level, the cost of parts and specialist labor remains firmly locked at luxury car levels. A single major fault can financially ruin a used buyer. Car number 2 is an early long-range model. We selected this specifically because it features a very large gross battery capacity, meaning even with degradation, it holds useful charge. The caveat is the high mileage. As the scorecard shows, these are priced around £16,000, usually with the odometer pushing past 90,000 miles. It still delivers an acceptable real-world mixed range of around 200 miles. The danger here is pushing past the manufacturer's standard 8-year or 100,000-mile battery warranty. Once you cross that line, you carry the absolute financial risk. A single dead cell within the pack can render the entire car a total economic write-off. Therefore, Car 2 is a high-risk gamble. It works perfectly until the day it doesn't. Finally, Car number 1. This is an overlooked vehicle suffering from weak buyer confidence, largely due to unpopular exterior styling and poor brand perception. Yet beneath the metal, it is built on a modern 400-volt architecture. The numbers show a heavily discounted 2026 price of £15,000. Crucially, it features fast CCS charging speeds, active liquid thermal management, and it still retains 3 years of its factory battery warranty. By avoiding the hype associated with trendy brands, you secure vastly superior technology at a massive discount, provided you are willing to accept lower future residual values when it comes time to sell. Car 1 is a true overall bargain. Swallowing brand snobbery and aesthetic preferences is the single most reliable way to secure a modern, dependable electric vehicle on a tight budget. Identifying the right model is only half the process. Before purchasing any of these cars, it is absolutely essential to obtain a dedicated battery state of health report to verify the exact degradation level of the cells. You must also conduct critical physical checks. Look for heavy impact damage to the reinforced metal battery casing underneath the car. Check the charging port for bent pins or corrosion, and confirm that both the Type 2 and 3-pin charging cables are present in the boot. Inside the cabin, run the internal systems. Verify the electric heater blows hot immediately, test the air conditioning, and scroll through the dashboard menus to check for any hidden drivetrain warning messages. Check the standard 12-volt battery under the bonnet. A degrading 12-volt unit causes chaos in electric cars, triggering false catastrophic fault codes that can mask genuine problems. Skipping a specialist EV inspection to save a minor upfront fee leaves you blind to latent faults. In this segment of the market, those faults often cost more to repair than the vehicle is actually worth. This matrix compares upfront cost against long-term financial risk. Car 1 secures its position as the cheapest sensible option for daily driving, balancing low cost with modern hardware. Conversely, the luxury saloon of Car 3 sits firmly in the high-risk zone, the biggest expensive mistake. But there is a fatal piece of mathematics to consider. Purchasing any of these depreciated EVs without reliable access to a home driveway charger destroys the financial logic entirely. Relying on public DC rapid chargers at 70 pence per kilowatt-hour makes running a cheap EV more expensive than driving a diesel. The true economy is only unlocked if you can plug in at home on a dedicated overnight tariff, paying pennies per mile. Purchase price alone does not equal affordability. Achieving genuinely low running costs requires matching the degraded limits of the specific car to your exact driving lifestyle and charging infrastructure. Choose carefully.